Right, this is Ali. This is Monica.
I'm Daniqua.
Scared.
We are group 6, and we don't feel like we should have a 30-minute video. We didn't understand, like, the video gonna be so boring, but
About
I understand the whole discussion part.
critical
In 30 minutes,
thinking.
That's too long.
that's too long.
Critical thinking. Talking for 30 minutes about critical
But
thinking.
I think what it's supposed to be, since it's like 5 of us, it's supposed to be 5 minutes apiece per talking. But you know, five minutes is a long time,
To talk
especially
about
when you're going to
critical
talk about the same thing.
thinking.
All right, you guys. I thought critical thinking is somebody who just takes a simple situation and overanalyze it. But what I found on wisegeek.com was that critical thinking is the ability to apply reasoning and logic to new or unfamiliar ideas, opinions, and situations. Thinking critically involves seeing things in an open-minded way and examining an idea or concept from as many angles as possible. When do we use critical thinking?
You asking us as a question?
No, I'm going to use my other source.
Oh, okay.
So from criticalthinking.org, they say we use critical thinking when you have a situation that you really need to, you know, a hard situation that you really need to analyze. And I will turn it over to Daniqua.
Okay. Well, what I think critical thinking is, basically that decision where you figure out whether the claim that is made is true or false, and you going into more detail about the situation and really analyzing it rather than seeing what's on the surface and making a decision from there. Yeah.
So you're telling me that you're supposed to have an open-minded approach to things when you critical think?
Yeah, I think you should, see things in a different light, so to say, rather than being, closed-minded and only thinking this way, and like seeing that, well, I'm seeing this, and that, so it got to be that, rather than saying I'm seeing that, but it could be this or it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I was going to talk about the steps to critical thinking. I got this off of McGraw-Hill.org.
Well, that's so exciting.
I made it do.
So what are the steps to critical thinking?
Number 1 is knowledge. Basically, in terms of critical thinking, you have to acquire knowledge of whatever the topic is, the issue, the thesis, the main point, or whatever. Comprehension, you have to understand the material, heard or seen. Okay. Application, you have to application, you have to carry out some tasks to apply what you comprehend in actual situation. Basically, review the tasks that require application. Analysis involves breaking down what you read or hear into its component parts. And the last step is evaluation. To evaluate the information, whatever else you have read or you have heard. And those are the steps to critical thinking according to McGraw-Hill Higher Education.
That is very interesting. Karen?
I got the elements of critical thinking from csun.edu. Let's just talk about critical thinkers do. Critical thinkers break arguments into basic statements and draw logical implications. Critical thinkers locate and do in arguments and propositions.
Boy, I got Nicki Minaj syndrome.
And critical thinkers determine if the premises are reasonable and identify information that has been omitted or not collected. They determine if the implications are logical and search for potentially contradictory data. Critical thinkers determine if the premises support the conclusion. In deductive arguments, the conclusion must be true if the premises are true. In deductive arguments, the conclusion are likely if the premises are true. So that's one. Critical thinkers weigh the evidence and arguments. Supporting data, logic, and evidence increasing the weight of an argument. Contradictions and lack of evidence decrease the weight of an argument. Critical thinkers do not accept propositions if they think there is more evidence against them, or if the argument is unclear, omits significant information, or false premises, or poor logic.
Okay, interesting.
Appreciate.
So when do you think we need to use critical thinking, Karen?
Every day. All the time.
At
I
church?
think we critically think. Okay, I'm gonna tell you when I critically think.
Mm.
I critically thought about my hair color. I critically think when I go, every day I wake up, I be like, okay, I write a plan of my day and I'm like, what should I do and when should I do it? And I do how should I do it? And according like to the time where I'm be, I try to, if I'm up top, I try to do everything I need to do up there before I come down to the bottom. Like I said, my roommate, she did this kind of thing and she was talking about killers, mass murderers, serial killers. They critically think out things like that.
The silent ones.
If we was to rob a bank, we're gonna critically think that out.
Wait a minute, you said you're gonna rob a bank.
I said if we
Yeah.
were to rob a bank.
So incriminating.
But taking it step by step, thinking of all the possible outcomes and solutions and all of that.
Let me go back to, is it pronounced Ollie?
Mhm.
Okay, so you said you critically think your hair color.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that thought process.
All right. So it was my birthday. My birthday was August 6th. Turn up for the Leos. And I knew I wanted to do something new because I have dreads, which when I leave here, I'm thinking about taking my dreads out.
You have dreads?
Yeah, I have dreads.
Okay.
Yeah, I have dreads. So I was like, I wanted to do something new. I was tired of my dreads. And I was like, I knew I wanted to do a color, but I didn't know which color to go because everybody was doing all these colors. And I had to think like, okay, if I do this color, am I going to look too much like this person? If I do this color, what's it going to look like on my face?
Mm-hmm.
So I had this app on my phone and I went and I put all these different colors on my head and I came out with like this turquoise blue color.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my critical thinking process. And then once I did it, I liked it and that was that.
May I ask what happened?
But you know,
It's called PixArt.
with that color, it's gonna cause for other females to fight.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I did have a couple girls in my class who had green hair. Another class who had the green colors too. So I don't know if they critically thinked it.
Oh
but
no, they didn't critically anything. They just
critically
copied,
find it,
which is
but-
okay.
Yeah.
But guess what? I see that, and that's why I'm doing something new. That's why I said when I leave here today, I'm ready to do something new because I don't like everybody having my same.
Fighting.
Yeah.
You know, well, about 6 months ago, I critically think with my hairstyle too. I actually shaved my head bald 6 months ago. I was like that.
Bald or
Bald,
low?
like straight bald, like
No, you did not.
straight bald. I mean, to grow it out now, but I bald it. But nobody
Why?
saw it. I don't know. It's just something I wanted to do.
What in the world? I cut off all my hair, but I did not go bald, like skinhead.
I was skin bald.
I couldn't do it. I think that
And,
was funny.
For a while, well, since it was still during like the cold season, I wore like a scully or whatever until they grew out like, you know, low.
What did your family say?
What made you want to do that?
She was going through a major change in your life.
You know, coming to the United States, just
Start fresh.
having that Afrocentric mindset. You know, you take them Africana studies courses and you just,
But you didn't know natural or something. You went bald.
yeah, that was straight ball. But it grew out, so
You gotta know how to use it. We took critical thinking to a whole new level.
we did.
Yeah.
Some of you critical thinking, equal.
Well, I critically think
How she
I had-
like her in a lot.
I have my mouth tends to go. I don't think before I speak usually. So now what I have learned to do since I have gotten older, I learned to think about what's gonna happen when I say what I say.
The consequences.
Yeah, the consequences
I used to
of
be
what
just like that.
I was gonna say. But it's hard. It's still hard sometimes to bite my tongue because that's
That's
me.
just something that you
No.
Yeah.
So I just, like I said, what critical thinking was, I just think about the outcomes of some of the things that I say.
I feel you, Carrie. You ever critically think about anything that someone else thought was strange or?
Every day, all the time. I always critical think. I think about everything.
Did you critical think? Let me pause you right there. Did you critical think when you handed me that paper that said Daniqua and you didn't think that I was going to
I was
think
critical
it
thinking
was
right there.
Daniqua?
That
So I
was-
thought your name was Daniqua for a second, seriously.
I was wondering why you was looking at me like that. But my name not Daniqua. That's my name.
You play basketball here?
Nah. I stopped playing my senior year. But I mean, I critical think my hair too. I don't think about growing dreads.
Really?
Cause I like banging my head. I think it
What I'm
like.
saying, like the guys, when you go through like that teeny weeny stage.
Yeah, that's not cute.
Yeah, I'm in a rough stage right
I'm
now.
almost coming out of that. That's why
We.
yes.
That's cool. When you cut it out, don't cut your dreads off.
I've been having my dreads for like a year and I've been wearing Solents on top of it for like a year. But, are you gonna dread up?
Yeah, I'm dread up.
Usually without this, usually I twist mine and just take it out before I dread up because my hair will actually lock really quick. So I usually wear like the little flat twist, keep it for like a week or two and then take
I
mine.
need your hair.
I bet they can pull it off. I'm trying to picture myself with them. But I can pull it off.
Oh, that's why you want the ad?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I'm gonna tell you about that after this. Well, what do you critically think about?
I told you I critically think about the whole baldness thing.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Dang.
I mean, within nothing, like my hair grows out fast, so within like 2 or 3 weeks, I already had like the little boy thing.
The fade?
Yeah, so all I did was just like dyed it, and people was like, "Oh, yeah, you could change."
Oh my God.
What else I could think about? Another thing. I remember last semester I was taking African American literature class, and the teacher that I had, she was very deep into her studies and everything like that. So we always talked about white people versus black people things, and things that white people do, what Caucasian people do, that may irk you and take you back to, your roots. And one of the things that I brought up was, I'm a cashier, so one of the things that I brought up was when Caucasian people don't put money in your hand and how disrespectful that is. If you've never experienced it before, they would throw that, they would throw it and stuff like that. And sometimes, when your job is on the line, you have to kind of pause for a second, regroup, and go on about your business instead of, lashing out. Because I used to be like that. Like I used to get spanked, throwing their stuff back, stuff like that. But sometimes when it's other things on the line, you have to critically think about the position that you're in.
Sure. That's why I had to learn how to, tone it down a little bit. Because it's like, well, if I say this and I do that, is it worth this?
Mm-hmm.
Or worth losing this and giving up that? So.
Yeah. Let me see if I have something else for my critical thinking notes.
I think something we all critically thought about as college students was when we decided to come to Savannah State University and our major. The major that we chose.
I critically thought about my major, but I did not get to decide.
Somebody made you come here?
My mother.
Oh my goodness.
What happened was I was applying to other schools, got to Georgia Southern, Clinton State, all that. My mother took it aside herself since I had family down here when I got to Savannah State to go ahead and start doing housing applications and paying $60 for housing. So by that time, I had no choice because she already invested her money into it.
Mm-hmm. So she critically thought
for me, yeah. So when I was trying to go to Georgia Southern, she was like, nah, you take me out.
Oh.
I definitely would say go to a HBCU over a PWI. So I'm glad you made the decision.
It's just like, with HBCU to me, it's like the high school that I came from was so ratchet. And it was just like,
It reminds you of a big high school.
yeah.
I had left there.
And it was
You
like,
went to who?
Riverdale.
Oh.
It's so ratchet. And it's like, it's mainly black people. And it's just like, I just wanted something different.
And you know me, I'm total opposite. I graduated in Vegas, and it was all Mexicans and white people, and I was like, when I go to college, I'm going
That's
to an
why I
all
can
black
understand
school.
you want to go to HBCU, but coming from a ratchet, I almost cursed. Coming from a ratchet behind high school and then coming to HBCU is like it's the same thing.
Well, speaking
Like
of
nothing
ratchets,
new.
because I don't think these ratchets critically think about anything that they do. But you coming from Vegas and coming to like the HBCU,
Mhm.
do you see stuff and you be like why
what's
did I
that?
even go here? Like,
Not things that I see, but as far as things is with the administration, the way they handle things.
Mhm.
Like my school in Vegas, because I went to high school in Macon, and then my last 2 years I went to Vegas, and I could just see my school in Macon was mostly black people. And it's the stuff that I seen at that school kind of reminds me, not even here, but when I went to Clark Atlanta, the administration at Clark Atlanta, that's HBC also. HBCU also is very, it's just the way they handle stuff. They not on time, disorganized. Some, a lot of people are rude, but
they don't
it just
say
seems
that
like
Armstrong.
exactly. Even at Southern, my homeboy, he tell me like it's not like that. My high school in Vegas, it was nothing like that. So, I mean, I guess those are the things that you're dealing when you're dealing with all black people.
That's things you have to think about
Well, did you
when
guys
you
hear
come
about?
to college.
Sorry to cut you off, I'm sorry. But did you hear about the situation where they didn't have housing for over 300 or 400 students?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I know that.
That was so not good.
They have
Like,
students. They have students staying at Armstrong. They have students staying in hotels. They have
Hotels?
students with no rooms at all. Like one of my homeboys, he had his room. He was gonna stay up top this year. They gave his room to a freshman, and they didn't even reassign him.
That's exactly what happened to me. And
They didn't even reassign him. I was like, what in the, like, how can you just do that? Like, you have this much space at this college. Why didn't they critically think about the intake of freshmen that they would take, that they was letting
They
in?
were critically thinking about money.
Money.
Just like right now I'm staying in the Commons. They had me sharing an A room, which costs $3,000
Oh,
for
me
one
too.
person.
Me too.
But guess what? They got 2 people paying $3,000. So that's just extra money they're getting. They gonna refund you a measly $400 something at the same
Oh
time.
no, they had, cause I was turning up on them.
Oh yeah, they moved me to the big
I
room.
was straight turning up on them. I still got the A room, but I don't have a roommate.
Where they moved her to?
I don't know, but they still got that bed in there. My B room roommate is not even in there.
Oh,
So I just by myself.
I took the bed with me to the B room, so now I have like a king size bed.
So I'm
So y'all
just,
live in the Commons?
yeah.
Is it loud?
I mean, it's better than the Ville, I think.
Yeah, you can't really do much in the Ville.
Yeah, last semester I think it was more turned up in the Ville.
Y'all lucky. I stay in Boston.
So let me get this right.
You lucky because you ain't paying no money.
So when I think about
That's the reason.
critically think about housing, to think about how turned up it's going to be. Can you explain this turned up for me?
I think, okay, that's just like when you decide the neighborhood you want to be in. As an adult and you have a family or something, you want to stay in a neighborhood where you don't have to worry, you can send your children outside and you don't have to worry about, saying different things happening, drugs, gang activity, rape and stuff like that. When we in college, our mindset is where is someplace I can have fun and someplace I can study when I want to. And that's...
Like trying to figure out best of both worlds, basically.
Where do you stay?
Oh, I live in Savannah. I'm all on the west side of Savannah.
Oh, so why'd you come to Savannah State being that you stay in Savannah?
Well, actually, after high school, I didn't really have a choice. My dad was like, well, how about you start at like the technical college first, and then you can move on to somewhere else if you need to, blah, 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 blah.
Why?
So, I don't know. My dad just thought about that. Because he's like, we really didn't think about college, the money situation, blah, blah, blah. So, at first I didn't want to go to Savannah Tech. Y'all thought Savannah State is ghetto. Savannah Tech is ghetto. When I say ghetto, they are really ghetto to the point where I started taking online classes when Savannah Tech was like right up the street from me because I didn't want to be on campus, but they are ghetto around there. And so I went there, finished out the little program thing that I did there, and I came here, but it was kind of like a last minute thing because by this time I'm 22, 23 years old, and it's like, why try to go to Clark Atlanta? Why try to go there when you got this right here? So,
Well, that makes sense.
am I the only one that age in here? That's the last semester.
I'm
How old are you?
20.
Right. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Let's put myself on blast. Boy, but anyway, yeah, so coming here was just like, well, I might as well, since I done spent all the time there and go somewhere that I know is transferable.
That's how I felt about when I came here, because my last semester, not last semester, the first semester last year, when I first got here, I was like not happy with nothing at West State. And I was ready to go back home and go to a different school, and I was just like, no, I'm not staying here. And I was like, after this last semester, I'm not staying here, I'm transferring and all that. But then second semester, I got used to everything, and I was like, well, it's alright, it ain't that bad as I thought it was. So I just ended up staying instead of, going to a new school, having to meet people all over again, do that whole process. So I critically thought about that.
Well, it sounds like we're all some good critical thinkers. So we're about to end this video. Okay, this is part 2 of our discussion. From group 6, we have
Sade Smalls.
and she's going to tell us what did you think critical thinking was before you actually looked it up.
When I looked up critical thinking, I actually thought of it as someone who has a personal view about something, but also look at it from different perspectives and different point of views. I also think about critical thinking as when someone analyzes a particular situation and deeper defines the meaning of the topic. Like, for example, with myself, the first day of class, I was actually critical thinking about the subject of critical thinking. I didn't know exactly what to expect about the subject. And so I did research on the word critical thinking, and that's when I seen definitions about, how it's used and how different people use it in different ways. But it's like a way of deeper analyzing a specific subject. And when I first walked into class, I actually had to critical think on the professor to actually try to get to know her a little more and to try to see like exactly what kind of professor was she. And by saying that, what I mean is when I first acknowledged the professor, I wanted to know more about her. So when I critically thought about her, I thought about her personality, and I observed her personality from the first day of class just to see exactly like where she was going, or would she make class boring or fun. So that was a way for me to like deeper analyze on that subject of her personality.
So when it came to scheduling like the class time, did you have to critical think that out too?
Yeah, because I'm a cheerleader and I didn't want the class to be too late or too early. I had to fit it around my schedule actually. So I did critical think about that, and it was like it fit perfect in the time. So that was another reason why I picked the class to be at 12:30. 12:30. Cause like right after that I have practice, so and then it's a good mind opener to get you to thinking about different things, and it's actually a relaxation before practice starts.
Is there anything else like in your personal life that you had to critically think out?
Yes, actually a lot of stuff that you have to critically think out. Well, for one, getting ready for the day, getting dressed for class, that's one thing you have to critically think about. Being in your hair, for one, you have to critically think about that, because you don't want to be misinterpreted or misjudged. Especially if you're in some type of major where in the business field, you can't just come to class dressed any type of way. You have to look professional in some manner, so, I can't have like all these colors in my hair. And with the cheerleading team too, we can't have color or anything in our hair. and all of the piercings and stuff. So that was one thing I had to critically think about because I actually like piercings, but I can't get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that I couldn't get them, so that was something I had to think about and think about how it would affect me in the future and things like that. So that was pretty much it.
Do you think your friends critically think?
Yeah. I mean, we all critical think in some type of way, shape, or form. I mean, I think that's just something that everybody do without even realizing it. Because everybody has to go into like an open-minded approach with everything. And that's like when you get to know new people, you know, you have to be open-minded because everyone is not the same.
Since you said it, I'm gonna stop you right there. Like when we had to do the whole group thing, like what was your thoughts, your critical thoughts about the whole group thing? Cause I have mine.
Yeah.
Let me what's that for you? Cause I feel like in most groups, sometimes you will have that one person who, I had to think about that. You have that one person who may carry the most weight, and then you have some that may slack.
Yeah.
Or like you were saying about the different personalities, you often try to wonder, like, well, me and these people, will we get along?
Yeah.
Or will we really mesh? Or could we come together and be cordial because of?
And I thought about that, like when she first said, when Dr. Bruce first said, you know, we had group projects.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like group projects because, you know, I automatically assume or think that everybody is not going to do their part. So it's
Me
like
too.
someone else is always going to have to step up and do more than the next
feel,
person.
well, that's usually my thing. Like, I have to get over that. I guess I think too much. But my thing is, I used to think that I would have to be the one who always carried it. Because,
Me
like
too.
you said, you would just expect everybody else not to want the same thing that you want. So, yeah. I'm not really a big fan of group projects. But,
yeah, but I mean, critical thinking, using it for what we're talking about now with group projects, like, it's basically a new way to do problem solving because, you know, if we wouldn't have thought about, you know, the way we were going to act when we came into the meeting to meet up with each other, you know, it could have came out totally wrong. So even if we didn't realize it, we all critical thought before we came in here. And, you know, okay, yeah, we're going to do this part, we're going to get it done because we all have to be graded on it. So it's like, if we didn't think about it before we came, you know, most people, well, we probably wouldn't have showed up to the group meeting because it would have been like, we don't care. So if we didn't care, you know, it would show that you didn't even think about your group project. We would have had to think
about the pros and cons of not coming and coming too much.
And everybody knows that they have a part to do.
Yeah. Speaking of parts, like I realized that you knew that I had to get my part done. That's why we're doing part 2 of the video.
Right.
Because remember yesterday we had the part 1 and you weren't able to make it because of your cheerleading thing. But you quickly thought that out, that okay, they said everything was good and we had a good video, but you had to think for yourself.
Right.
And be like, hey.
And also for the group, I didn't want to be a disappointment to the group.
Girl, are you serious?
Yeah. I didn't want to be a disappointment to the group. So, I mean, I knew that I was going to get it done, you know, regardless about cheerleading or anything like that because school comes first. But I also just had to show my group that I was going to be here. So, and I actually had to critical think about that as well because I had to plan out if, you know, I was going to miss another day of practice to get my work done.
Or was your group members going to be able to participate or come and wish something like that? I wasn't doing anything else, so I wasn't, what you call it. And plus I had the camera, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked when you did, you know, was trying to, hey, when we gonna get together? Because most people, after that first day of discussions and stuff like that, it's like, okay, everybody else is on their own. So I'm glad that you did use your critical thinking
to get that done.
Method to get it done. to touch on the whole open-minded approach thing again. They do say critical thinking is essential as it creates new possibilities in problem solving. Being open-minded is a large part of critical thinking, allowing a person to not only seek out all possible answers to a problem, but to also accept an answer that is different from what was originally expected. Open-minded thinking requires that a person does not assume that his or her way of approaching a situation is always best or even right. A scientist, for example, must open the idea that the results of an experiment will not be what is expected. Such results, though challenging, often lead to tremendous and meaningful discoveries.
Well, I also had read that, you know, it's like I said before, everyone thinks because it's our nature to do so. But like much of our thinking left to itself is biased. It's kind of partial and ununiform. So like when you're going down to like actually critical thinking, like I said before, you know, you like really deeper defining or getting into a specific subject. So like, okay, critical thinking is like that mode of thinking. It could be about any subject because like I said, you know, that's our nature to think about anything, basically. So it's like when you critically think about something, it's like, you know, that's your focus, like that's your main topic. That's you really trying to, you know, deeper involved on that subject and break things down. Like that's why it's called critical thinking. And like I said, like when I came to the class, you know, any class that I first walk in, I'm ready to see the professor because I want to know like how the class is gonna go. You know, is this a hard professor or you know is she, you know, like limited or willing to get along with you and willing to go along with, you know, being understandable. Like that's most of the things I look for in my professors because you never know like what situation you can be placed in. So you're automatically thinking like, is this teacher gonna be understandable or you know, is she just a hard crackdown professor that doesn't want any excuses from anyone? Mm-hmm. And so that's...
You pretty much tested her critical thinking skills.
Yeah, right.
So let's see how critical she is or he is.
So that's one of the main things, like especially with school, that I look for. And then I also observe the classroom as well to see like how's the class going to interact with the professor.
Or where you sit at.
Yeah, where I sit at, and you know, am I around people that talk and don't listen that's going to distract me, or should I sit on this side of the classroom? Should I sit in the front or the back? So, you know, that's just mainly... Those are the good things that I see like about critical thinking. And it's like, before I even came in the classroom, you know, when I researched the word critical thinking, like I actually do that a lot without even knowing
Not
it.
even knowing
Yeah,
it.
so I feel like this class, since I actually had to speak on the subject, you know, this class actually brought it out of me that, you know, critical thinking is something that we do every day, but, you know, it's just how we use it.